Welcome to Tough Talk Tuesday. This is pre-Canelo-Plant edition. How's it going, everybody?
Good.
I'm ready.
Good.
Super good.
Rob's chomping at the bit, man. He really wants to get into it. We got a little things to talk about, though. First off, how'd you say that name again there, Rob? Isaac Cruz. I was saying Isaac. Apparently, that's wrong. Isaac Cruz has stepped in for Rolly Romero. Going to take on Gervonta Davis. Guys, how do you see this? James, I know you had something to say about it earlier. Good fight or no?
You know, Isaac brings it. He's a Mexican fighter. I think he's from Mexico City, in fact. He's going to bring it right at Gervonta. If, in fact, this fight actually happens. I don't know that it's cast in stone yet. It could be a good bout for several rounds. His style is tailor-made for Gervonta. Gervonta could easily pick him apart with his speed and his movement. There's very little dimension in Isaac Cruz's fight. We'll see how it plays out. I'm glad to see Gervonta back in the ring.
Yeah.
He's a fighter. He's taken care of a few guys in his last few fights, and one thing I will say is that it's too bad that this is pay-per-view. I mean, we're looking at a fill-in here.
Yeah.
And another thing I will add, not to get too deep into things, but it's too bad about Rolly Romero because I kind of wanted to see that. And hopefully things will work out for him too, because he's up against a lot of shit. And so that's my take.
We might be able to still see that fight down the road, but I agree with pretty much what you said. I mean, Isaac Cruz, great fighter, but everything that he does well, Gervonta Davis pretty much does the exact same thing, only better. So it is going to take a different style to kind of defeat Gervonta Davis. It's going to have to take a well-trained boxer, not a slugger.
I agree with that.
But Cruz will get off fast, and Davis is a notorious slow starter, and Cruz is going to get off fast. I expect, like in the early rounds, for it to be a competitive fight, unless Davis catches him with something. But Cruz the fast, he's going to bring it, and I think the fans potentially could get their money's worth. Even though I think a lot of people, because of the buildup going into the fight with Rolly, had taken a lot of interest in that fight. I mean, Rolly was great for sound bites, and I love that aspect of the game. So I was really enjoying what was going on. Unfortunate what happened. It is good for Cruz that he gets this opportunity. I don't know if it's the opportunity he's ready for. I think he might have needed a few more fights, a little bit of more fine tuning of his craft. But he's here. It is what it is. I think it'll be competitive for a few rounds, and then Davis will put him away.
I mean, he did make Francisco Vargas look pretty bad. He has yet to be stopped. I mean, he's got a couple things going for him.
The one thing that he's sorry about that. The one thing he's got going for him that's not going to help him is that he does the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
Consistently attacks the same way, the same route, and he doesn't find a way in. He just kind of like cuts his way in. And against Gervonta, could be a short night.
You
but
do,
like you say, Malachi, he brings it. He's coming straight in.
He does, but that's also
straight
predictability,
lines.
and Tank's going to set that up.
Which addresses CJ Hooker talking about this just turned into a dangerous fight for Tank. Where is this a dangerous fight for Tank? I love the pit bull. I loved him at 130, not at 135, and that's the majority of the issue. It's going to look exactly like Santa Cruz coming up in weight, and he's going to get hurt, and he's going to get hurt bad. Listen, I like Cruz at 130. Unfortunately, though, he's one of those fighters the lower weights that I don't count because they don't have tremendous power. Okay, period. They don't have power. And even in that fight against Francisco Vargas, he never stopped him. And Francisco was a 36-year-old deflated fighter in that bout. And Cruz could never stop him in that fight. He does throw a bunch of punches, which, Tank did get hit with a lot by Santa Cruz. But it didn't faze him. He was able to take him out. I see that same thing happening. In terms of Raleigh, I think Raleigh, again, is one of those lower weight fighters I don't count because of no power or lack of power. They have to throw a tremendous amount of punches for them to win their fights. I think Raleigh versus the Pitbull is a better fight than either of these two versus Tank. Tank demolishes both of these guys. He is at a higher level and should be hunting bigger fish.
Sakura, what you got to say about it? You off quiet so far.
Guys, this is a big nothing burger for me. This is a last-minute replacement. This is not going to be some, slugfest or anything like that. Baby Tyson, as we call him, I mean, he's more monotonous. So you do know it's blue. That's perfect freaking pickings for somebody like Tank. It's perfect picking. I don't see this as anything that I can get as excited about, compared to what Rolly was bringing to the table. And at least with Rolly, I know that Rob is saying he doesn't have the power and this and that, but I had to disagree with you a little bit because it's always just the quickness and the accuracy of the punch sometimes that will knock you out. It's the punch you don't see is what they always say. So people with fast hands like a Rolly do have a chance of stopping somebody or at least stinging somebody like Tank. This right here, I don't see how that happens. You can see what Baby Tyson is about to throw. So where's the surprise? I don't see it. Now, as far as this Rolly stuff is concerned, hello, I'm a female. Let's put this disclaimer out here. You mess with females, yes, you should get some kind of punishment. No doubt about it. But this hasn't been proven. I think Showtime and PBC jumped the gun, Mayweather Promotions jumped the gun a little bit on this one, trying to put out a fire based on allegations that haven't been proven. So for me, it's like the fight was next week. If the fight had been where it was going to be a couple of months out and there's all this, police investigations and things like that going on, I can see them removing him from the fight. The fight is next month, literally now, because we're in November. So, what the hell can happen now from then to now as far as proven evidentially wise that Rolly has done all of this? So I feel like they wrong for taking him off the card. Yes, I said it as a female. The reason I say that too is just because of the fact that I have men in my family. I have, my son, my grandson really, but technically. And I have Emilio. I have you guys that I all love. And I want to know, how would I feel if one of you guys got accused of something like that and the one big shot that you've been perfecting for years is taken away from you? And yeah, we could have a fight later, but more than likely we won't. The same way Spence probably won't ever see a Pacquiao day now. So once you miss that opportunity, it is no guarantee that that day will come back around again. And this is all off what? I'm not with it, y'all. I don't feel it at all. I'm one of them women that's I fight for my men's. I love you guys. I don't like for nobody to be just accusing and they automatically are just seen as most reliable, especially off not something that's 2019. Tell my ass now that somebody in my family did something yesterday or last week. I'm going to be questioning. I'm going to be thinking. But you wait and you tell me that somebody in my family did something to you 2 years ago, I ain't got to be sitting up there thinking about that at this point in time. I'm not. And I think most boxing fans are with me. They with me. They want to see the fight. And it was only a month away. So, whatever, it's like you pick and choose when you want to be safe with these boxers. You pick and choose when you take them off, when you leave them on. Just let the fight happen. I mean, seriously. Because right now, you're telling me that it's some allegations. I haven't heard one word about a police investigation, evidence, or evidence. What kind of evidence can they even bring besides what they saying out of their mouths collectively? You know, what can be said about that? How do you prove that?
He's not been charged with any crime, right?
No.
Okay, so then what it looks like is that the promoters are being real careful in who they book for a fight, because that person could easily be indicted.
Right. And Shakira, I agree with you.
You're right. You're right.
Hold on a second. Even if they did, how is that Showtime and how is that Mayweather Promotions' fault?
Well,
Did they go do the crime? I mean, I still don't see how that did it that time. They can remove it from the card.
But
Well,
it's
I
not
mean,
their
I'm-
fault. It's not the promoter's fault.
I'm saying it's their fault. I'm saying they jumped the gun. I'm saying even if they did leave him on the card and then something came out on him later, then they have a reason at least to get rid of him. And you can't keep doing this to menfolk based on just what some people are saying, hearsay, rumor, right? Like it has to be criminally investigated, and you have to have due process.
They gotta sell.
America.
It's the climate.
Yeah, but
It's the climate that's been created by Twitter,
social media. They judge you now, and then later they try to backtrack and be like, oh well, that kind of wasn't such and such and such and such. By then, people know the story and think that the man did it.
Yeah, but they have to sell. They have to sell the fight.
right. And
That's fine.
you're making,
Yeah, but how are you going to sell a fight? You can't sell a fight when the guy could potentially be behind bars.
But potentially, it's not behind bars. Do you know how many things I can say about different guys that that doesn't mean that they're not qualified to go through with a fight, that they don't train their
But
whole life.
your question was, why did the promoter jump the gun? They got to do what they got to do. They can't afford.
No, I didn't. I never said that. I never said why. I said they was.
No, but you.
I
Okay.
understand they're trying to
They're
work
simply-
on liability and saving face for their companies. Well,
Well,
guess what?
that's their job.
You let this one by with peds. You let this one by with domestic violence. You let this one by with this or that, whatever. Okay, so why you gonna pick this particular time to decide that you want to? You draw the line at this.
because it doesn't
Not only
matter.
that,
Well, James, let me speak on this though. It
Go ahead.
doesn't matter. Raleigh's not the draw here at all. Now you may want to see him. You may want to see him because you like his style, this and that.
No, you
People like Malachi may want to see him, but he's not the draw.
It's not about. I think people are more willing to say whatever because they don't like Rolly. But for me, it's not about Rolly. It's about the overall concept of judging men based off the strength of somebody's word after they done waited 2 years to speak out on the situation. That's what I'm opposed to, because if it can happen to Rolly, it can happen to you. It can happen to my husband. It can happen to my grandson. It can happen to
I think they should let it go and have Rolly. I think Gervonta should be fighting Rolly, and they could do like the Battle of the Wife Beaters.
Well, that's my point. Y'all are taking it too far with this, though, man. It doesn't matter. He's out the fight. Due to unforeseen circumstances, he's out the fight. He was gonna get beat anyway. It doesn't matter. Bring in the next guy. It doesn't matter. Tank is the draw here. The promotion company has a right to do that, and they invoked it, and he's out. Let's move on.
The only reason he's out is money. They don't care about the accusations, none of that. He's out for money purposes, and just like James said, it's more of like, What happens if we get closer and then all of a sudden they move on it and he's arrested? That's the only reason. I don't think it's any of the climate stuff. I don't think it's just because he was accused. I don't think any of that. I think it's more they're afraid that was actually going to be a charge made. He gets arrested, then stuff goes haywire. But let's not get it twisted. There's messed up boxers. I mean,
Oh yeah.
Floyd admitted to it and then waited to go to jail. So let's not pretend like it really matters anyway. He's gonna get licensed. So, no matter what he does, murderers, everything. We got a little bit of everybody in boxing.
I just feel like it's not even as big a draw anyway. Like this Cruz replacement, no disrespect to him, but that's not a big fight, and it doesn't make as much money or garner the amount of fan attention that a fight with Rolly would.
For me,
Rolly was nobody either.
For me personally, it's about the same. I think it's about equal. They traded for equal value. Just
okay,
me.
Lucas, I believe you, but Rob, you were the one up here last week like, oh, we got to talk about Rolly because
Yeah, I can see Rob doing that. Rob, you like because Raleigh stirs the pot, buddy.
Yes. He is the one that was saying that just last week. So, Lucas, I believe you. Rob, stop your shenanigans.
Raleigh was going to get beat.
All right, let's move on.
Maybe so, but guess what? I'm still say, like, that kind of situation can happen to any male in this country now, because we have it now where you can say something on social media and it just, it could kill a career opportunity for you.
For sure. All right, let's go ahead and change topics here and talk about the tweet of the week. Let's go with Shields first. That way we can lead into the recap of last week.
All right, let me try to change topics because, Lucas, I do love a Clarissa Shields Jake beef. So, first Clarissa was talking about how she was, she lost to a split decision and she was, basically justifying or saying, how she still feel like she learned something and, she's still going to be pursuing MMA and remember that she is new and everything. But then I guess Jake Paul had his moment of fame and he went in on Clarissa. So Clarissa chimed back and was like, unlike Jake, I fought a real MMA fighter. He has yet to face a real boxer in boxing. And now then she said, but Showtime will still back him, right?
Of course.
So, this is so funny to me, guys, and I have to get your opinion on this one. It popped out in my ether. I was just like, basically, does she have a point? Does Jake Paul have a right to talk about her and what she did in MMA when he's yet to face a real boxer in the sport of boxing that he's saying he wants to be included and respected for?
Well, speaking first off with the Showtime, of course Showtime's going to take his side and back him. And until that man gets done something even bad enough, he would have to get put behind bars for Showtime to not back him. He brings in money. That's the bottom line. It really don't matter what he does outside the ring. They're going to promote him. Clarissa Shields, however, has an excellent point. Jake Paul can't stand on any merit. Like, shut the hell up, man. You in a sport, and then you're fighting somebody else. You know what I mean? That's like me asking, man, what's that damn... What's the Olympic swimmer's name? Michael Phelps. That's like me asking Michael Phelps to like a chess match. Those two things aren't equal. That don't mean that I can get in there and swim with them. So it's dumb to me. I'm getting tired of Jake not fighting an actual boxer. I think when he does, anybody with any kind of skill level will beat him. It's just a matter of time before they find out that all of this is a farce. Meanwhile, Clarissa is a gold medalist in boxing. Went over to another sport. I would love that, but I think she would beat the shit out of him.
Exactly. That's not what he does. That's not his thing. His thing is to bring in celebs that attract a lot of attention, and you know, that's his game. And you know, if he fought a fighter, a real fighter, that's lights out. There's no way he can compete.
Hell, probably
It's
anybody
just not
on
his-
her
it's-
resume.
Isn't he gonna fight Tommy Fury?
I doubt it, man. I've heard that, but I doubt that. I doubt that fight happens for the reasons I just said. I don't think none of those is going through because Tommy Fury will lay his ass out, and everybody's going to see what a joke this is, unless it's already an exhibition and it's agreed upon that he ain't knocking him out. That's my only take on it. I honestly don't see.
Oh, there go Malachi. Malachi, what was you thinking about this?
I think he should fight Clarissa. I'd love to see him fight Clarissa.
Well, if only we could get something like that sanctioned. I'm pretty sure we won't. I mean,
They could do it as an exhibition.
I mean, they're gonna hide behind that explanation anyway. But I mean, for me, I'm just simply like, yeah, I have no problem with Jake making his money by doing these exhibitions and bringing in celebrities, whatever he wants to do. But then that don't qualify you to open your damn mouth about an Olympic multi-division champion.
I believe Clarissa had talked about Jake too, though. I think she opened the door, and once you open the door, Jake Paul's gonna come all the way in. Oh, you want to mention my name? Let's get some headlines. Let's make some stuff go viral on Twitter and everywhere else.
Okay, but if I thought she really did that just to spark, interest or whatever, that's one thing. But I believe she genuinely believes that she don't need to have to be on his undercard. Like, that's like what she believes. That's different from me just picking at you and trying to get some, likes and shit off, using your name. I believe she really believes that. So that's totally different. I mean, and if I say I don't want to be on your card or nothing, it's like, that don't mean they give you the right to talk about me when I'm a professional and you don't have that pedigree. So, that's what I draw the line at. Like, she ain't got no right to say anything about him fighting, who he wants to fight as a celebrity boxer, because that's his wheelhouse. That's what he does. So you have to respect his grind, but on the same turn, I'm just saying, like, if it need to be reciprocated. He shouldn't be saying nothing about her losing or whoever she fought or whatever the case may be.
I think she needs to take a page out of him and start fighting some dudes and putting it up on YouTube and just knocking these dudes out. Then being like, Jake, you're next. I mean, that'll sell a pay-per-view. Clarissa Shields, gold medalist, beating the shit out of Jake Paul. Man, I want to see it right now. I'd pay for it.
Yeah, but that's the idea, is that one of his tactics, one of his MOs is to stir up shit, and that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
Here we are talking about the mother.
That's true.
Which I'm about to do, because the topic here in the situation is not the Paul. The topic of the situation is, Clarissa, you went to MMA, you failed miserably. You went to MMA because you wanted to build a bigger draw for yourself in your name, and you took a loss, and it failed. You need to come on back to boxing. Maybe she did need to be on a Paul card to maybe draw in the hype a little better and get better fights. But she tried, she failed. That's the point.
You know what? The key word you said is she tried, while the other keyboard Twitter whores, they out here just tweeting on their couch and they ain't tried to do shit in their career. Okay? She tried. She lost her second fight. She'll be back again. Like, damn, that's what happens when you first come to a new sport and you're trying to learn. Like, you got to learn on the damn job. At least she tried. Like I said before, some of these keyboard whores, I call them, they be talking so much junk about what she's doing and what she's not doing, but yet I don't see them doing a damn thing. So,
and then Rob, she lost the split decision. You said she failed miserably. That's a huge exaggeration.
We gotta exaggerate a little bit, Rob.
Decision.
No, it's not, because your purpose is, the only reason why she went up to there is to build a bigger name. That's it. That's the only reason why she went to MMA.
And you don't think she's done that?
Do you not think she's been successful?
Not at all.
Well,
not at all.
I've
The other girl was a lot more experienced in MMA than Clarissa.
Lost in her second fight. Nobody has any interest in seeing her in MMA again.
Yes, they do.
She's grown her name to another fan. And also, I saw her actually have an endorsement on that card, which she has not been able to secure in boxing. So she is having some positive benefits from going over to try MMA because they are more considerate and more appreciative of women in their sport.
Yeah,
But the thing about-
MMA does handle women better. Go ahead, James. Sorry.
But I think the thing with Clarissa is to look forward to a really big fight back in boxing. She's coming back to the boxing ring, and there could be something really, really big for her. As far as the opponent, it may be Michaela Mayer, possibly.
That'd be a good fight.
Yeah, that's possible. I think that's coming in the future. I think that might be arranged. So I'll wait for that. But as far as MMA, I'm not really into MMA. I don't really follow it. So, but I know that in her last fight that she did walk away with a split decision, but that was a generous split decision. I think that she got handled in that, and it could have been, you know.
I thought you didn't watch MMA, so how we?
He did.
I saw some of the clips because I do follow her. I do follow. I think she's just an awesome boxer, awesome athlete, and I really like her. So I do follow. So I did kind of. But, I mean, for like.
Really, the last round is when the girl dominated her in the last 20 seconds
Right.
of the fight. I mean, the rest of the rounds, it was very competitive. So
Yeah.
I got to stick up for Carissa. And, you know, I have to say that in this particular situation, she ain't always right, okay? But in this particular situation, it's like, if you haven't done anything even comparable to her, sit your ass down and stop talking to you.
Give her A for effort.
Like
A for effort.
I respect what she's doing, but for me, I think women boxers are completely overlooked a lot. They're definitely undervalued, and I mean you can take that just as face value. Just imagine a fight with Clarissa Shields, and then make your dream fight, and I guarantee you it probably couldn't do pay-per-view. That's part of a problem that women boxing has. It's a hump that they have not been able to get over that MMA figured out. And she's trying to branch off into that, and no one can blame her for trying to go to a better market. You know, she's been on the top for so long. I don't know who else she can fight other than a man. That's really the only thing that's going to sell big numbers at this point. And it sucks because she has main evented, but she's got her own little personal hump that she can't get over with the sales part. I wish her all the luck, though. Hope to see her back in the boxing ring soon with another big fight. Let's go ahead and go on to Tweet of the Week number 2.
All right, so this one is also so good because we got Ennis. Ooh, yes, Jerron says, I want the top guys, Spence, Ugas, Porter, Crawford, and Thurman. I mean, guys, I just want to know from you, the question on this one is any of this going to happen? Is it possible for us to see a Boots versus Ugas or a Boots versus Spence, Thurman? Any of these names, does any of them seem possible after the just amazing win he just had?
I think it's possible, but it depends on where he signs because he's not PBC, right? He's not Top Rank. He's not DAZN or whatever that is. I don't know where he's going to land. I think it'd be best for him to be with a PBC because that's where all the good welchers are, minus Crawford. So if he in fact goes with PBC, I think that's the best way.
Well, all his fights have been with PBC. I just assumed he was with them, but
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, I'm not.
Who's the promoter?
Yeah, that's
yeah.
Management.
I thought he was under like a smaller promotion, like a Star Boxing or something like that. Maybe I might be wrong.
I'm not sure that he's PBC.
It seems like they have their ties with PBC and Al Heyman. He's on PBC
so yeah.
exclusively. I don't think I've seen him on anywhere else other than PBC.
Yeah,
So there's an
Events.
arrangement there.
there could be. Yeah.
Your answer is that if he's with PPC, then yes, this can happen. That's your answer?
It's easier if you already have the working relationship, for sure.
Well, I still
Yeah.
think he has a problem.
To answer your question, Shakura, no. Nobody's gonna fight him for another 2 years. He's gonna be the boogeyman right now. You know why? He is a hell of a fighter. Hell of a fighter.
The question is his win over Lipinets and Delorme enough to say he's ready for those top names?
Right.
I'm not gonna say it makes
in
him
the
worthy
way that-
of the top name.
Yeah, I mean it's
I mean,
it's still
this
not
was a
there.
step back.
I
If we're being real, this
I
guy
agree.
was a step back from Lipinets.
agree.
Understood, heard.
Delorme's kind of been on his way out for the last few fights. He's still a good fighter, don't get me wrong, but he's not what he once was.
And
He
neither
lost the last 3 fights in a row.
Neither is Lipinets. That's the point. So how do these 2 wins just make him worthy of facing
What you're not
a
gonna
world
do?
champion right now?
What you're not gonna do is diminish with this kid is Brock. Okay, this kid has done what these other fighters aren't showing us in the ring.
Which is
okay?
what?
He's going above. He's going levels above his resume, levels above what people think he can do. He's knocking these guys
He's
out.
going levels above. That's
He's
the whole
knocking these
point.
guys
He's
out.
fought nobody.
Delorme hasn't been knocked out with hell throughout his career. You probably can count on one hand how many times Delorme's been knocked out, and he's fought top level competition. Okay, he's fought top level competition. You're not supposed to fight the Crawfords yet. You're not supposed to fight the Spencers yet. You know they don't want to see Boots Ennis. They don't want to see him. They don't think he has a name to draw
Delorme
out
lost
there right
to
now.
Terrence Crawford, correct? I do believe
Yeah,
he lost
he
to
did.
Terrence Crawford. He lost to Stanosis. What's the kid that's
So
9-0? He getting ready to fight for Ugas for the world championship.
So-
He every time that Delorme had faced anybody that we would consider upper echelon, he lost, and he already had I think 5 losses coming into this fight.
Yeah.
So this win, even though as impressive as it was, first round knockout destruction, you're saying it makes him worthy of fighting Terrence Crawford or Errol Spence right now with that resume.
Yes.
No.
And the way
I
and the
agree
way-
with him. Delorme
I'm not lying.
takes the
Yes,
ladder
let me
up
defend myself.
and shoots back down. He's playing shoots and ladders, okay? Go ahead.
Folks, you are going to hear this constantly tonight because they're going to bring up, especially with the main event topic, this term resume. Fuck it. Fuck the resume. I'm tired of hearing about the resume because the only how to get a bigger resume, to get a bigger step, is to get the bigger names to want to fight you. The problem and the issue with Boots Ennis is he's that level, top level competition.
He has
right
no following.
now. They
He has no
won't
following.
want to.
He's not
fight
a
him.
draw.
You know
He's not a
why they
draw.
won't want to fight him? Because he could possibly beat them all.
He could, but he's high risk, very low reward. You really gain nothing out of beating Ennis right now. He has no following to bring to the table, so you got to be a big name that's going to have your own audience come to buy the pay-per-view because nobody's going to buy it for Boots Ennis. I'm sorry. It's just the way it is.
I'm feeling what Malachi is saying, but on the other hand, Malachi, my issue is I'm not sure that Boots is as unknown as people want to think. Because I mean, the lead up to that night was supposed to be the main event of James versus Boudier, but the problem was that everybody was watching the card because they knew Ennis Boots was fighting. So I'm kind of like teetering with what you were saying, Malachi, as far as the value, and it is high. You know, it is a high risk, and it is a small reward because he doesn't have a title under his name yet, right? But the other tip of the saw is that he might be more well known than we think he is. Than it's showing because you know when you have a main event card and you're supposed to be it was a title fight for the main event with James.
Of course.
And
Stole the show.
just everybody don't even want to see that. They watching because you're like the co-main or you're underneath that card as an Ennis Boots. So
I think Boots is big. I think Boots is big with us in the boxing community.
Because now the promotional company knows, like, well, damn, hey, we could have had him as a main event.
And he stole the show.
Listen,
I don't think he'd sell 150K.
No. This is where Boots is in his career.
No value is kind of like, not being genuine, I'm saying.
Yeah. This is where Boots is currently in his career. One of us, right, the boxing people, tells the non-boxing, the common boxing, like, hey, dude, turn on Enos. He's about to whoop some ass, about to show you something, right? Then those people tune in. That's all. He has no following, just as Malachi said, though. He has no common from the roots up following. He has 20,000 followers on Twitter. That ain't shit, okay? That is horrible, considering Shields don't get the respect and a following, and she has over 70 now. He really doesn't have a following.
Lucas, so since you're bringing up the numbers, the Twitter numbers, the following, so are we now officially okay with valuing someone's talent based on their social media?
No,
you said talent. We're not talking about talent.
I said no.
We're talking about
money.
Selling a fight.
No, I'm just saying. I'm not asking as a boxing head, okay? I'm asking, are we now willing to go ahead and accept that this is the new normal and that those numbers should be factored into your equation as to where you rank?
No.
I don't think.
I'm saying no only because you said a new normal. This is an old normal. This has always been this way. It's just now we have a statistic that I can literally check on my phone and be like, damn, this guy has a big following. However, all you had to do was look out a window and see Muhammad Ali walking down the street with people following behind his ass and be like, he has literal followers. That's the only difference is we have statistics now with social media that we can say this dude has enormous following. When he tweets, people share it, people conversate about it. That is literal showing how much pull you have.
That's why it's so sad that Ryan Garcia is such a messed up case, because this guy's got 9 million Instagram followers.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a lot.
And do all of those translate to boxing followers? Not necessarily, but it does still show amount of pull that you can have. So even if he pulls 20% of that, that's a massive, 10% is massive.
The boxing people industry has said they've calculated, and yes, he does have that kind of power. He has followers that are.
So you think he sells 100? You think he
No
even
way.
sells 150K right now as the headliner, not non-title fight?
Who we talking about? Ryan Garcia?
No, Boots Ennis.
Ennis Boots?
Yeah.
No.
Boots sells like maybe 30. Man, he'll be lucky if he sells 30, maybe 50.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
He's not pulling any
Errol
pay-per-view.
Spence-
My brothers only got 6, and it took a double header for them to get 60.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I know he ain't got the kind of pull they got. They're more well known than him. And if it took both of them to be on a double hitter pay-per-view to get 60 mil, so I know it can't be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we got to go and talk about other stuff, but I do have to. I have to rapid fire Rob real quick, and then James, I'll let you talk.
Sure.
Rob, okay, you're high on Ennis, and I'm not saying I'm not, okay, but you make it sound like you really high. So tell me, are you favoring him? Are you taking him over a Spence, over an Ugas, over a Porter, Crawford, or a Thurman?
I'll take Boots over Spence, Ugas, and Thurman, not Crawford.
Wow. That's a
Wow.
lot.
I might consider Ugas, but
You
not
said
Spence.
wait, now say it again.
Spence, Ugas, Porter, Crawford, and Thurman. I can't talk.
I said I favor him over Spence, Ugas, Thurman, Porter, not Crawford.
Sorry,
Oh,
James.
Very good.
What were you going to say?
But my only point is that it's really shocking that we don't know, or the public doesn't know about Boots Ennis as well, simply because this guy's got a knockout record. He's 28-0, 26 Ks. This should be household, and I think his management has really, really dropped the ball with his career. This guy should be at that pay-per-view level. He's not, and he should be right up there with all the big boys, all the guys that Rob just mentioned, and a few others. But he's not. He's still kind of in the back seat here when it comes to the big boys.
And that was part of the
coming. He's coming.
Well, that was part of the problem is we couldn't even name his promoter, right? We don't know where he is, so he has no one backing him. He has no one, screaming his name out, saying, "Hey, check this guy out." But we really do need to move on. Let's talk main event. Rob, I know you got like a sheet, so I'm gonna let you start off this. Let's talk Canelo-Plant. What you got?
Well, I'm gonna stir the pot all night, so I'm just gonna start with the basics, okay? Because I got it written down here. So I'm just gonna start with the basics, folks. Is Canelo versus Caleb-Plant? It's the super middleweight, the unified super middleweight championship of the world, okay? The odds on this fight, whoa, buddy, heavily favored Canelo. It's like plus 500. It's like right now, it's like plus 500 for Caleb-Plant. And then the rest is favoring Canelo, and it's not just favoring Canelo, it's favoring Canelo by stoppage or knockout. The betting public don't even think this one will go 12 rounds, y'all. And all of it is because of what Lucas is about to talk about. So I will kick it up to him, but it's primarily because of resume. And when I say that, the top 3 names on the resume for Caleb-Plant is Mike Lee, Jose Ukitagi, and Caleb Truax. Those are really the top 3 names. Go ahead, Lucas. Go in.
I'm actually not talking about those 3. I will touch on Mike Lee. Like, I know some people were high on Mike Lee. He was undefeated, but he did more sandwich cells than he did boxing. Okay, what I'm going to talk about is Uzcategui. Okay, Caleb-Plant did not look good in that fight. Not at all. Struggled to stand up at points. Got rocked really bad, and I like Uzcategui, great barn burner type fighter, but he is no Canelo Alvarez. Uzcategui is levels below. Canelo's at the top, and yeah, Rob, you're right. I gotta talk about the resume as a whole. He's not ready for this type of a fight. You can't jump from Caleb Truax to Canelo Alvarez. You can't jump from anybody that's fought him to a Canelo Alvarez. You need a step up. You need another A-list fighter, another, big time guy, another elite level fighter. And I'm not saying that you even have to win that fight, but you at least need that experience, to which he has none. And I'm not sure. And I do like his style in this fight. Styles do make fights. I think Caleb-Plant's stylistically could cause issues for him. The only problem is I think once he starts getting touched, and Canelo will touch him. He ain't that slick. He ain't that defensive. And he's no Arislandi Lara. I see Canelo getting to him pretty often. But maybe I'm wrong. I'm going to hear what the rest of you guys say.
Yeah, I'll go next. I mean, for me, it's like I'm going to be rooting for Plant because I ain't the biggest Canelo fan. We all know this. I think he's been fighting fluff buckets too.
Me too.
And I think that matters. When you get in the ring again with somebody who has some footwork and is not flat-footed, we're going to see where this goes. My problem with Plant, on the other hand, is Plant, how can I say this? We don't know where the hell he's at. He could be like this amazing diamond. We just don't know. I don't feel like, the fight that you mentioned, Lucas, or the lead fight, or the Truax, I don't feel like none of them fights really let us know where and exactly where Plant is on the skill level versus, some other, competitive, what can I say, competitive opponent that Canelo might have had. There's no litmus test here, right? You can't say Canelo fought this person and Plant fought him and this is, there's nothing. So, I mean, I don't want to say that Plant is necessarily going to win. I don't. But I damn sure ain't gonna sit here and say that he don't have a chance, because I feel he does. So I think it's like best, like since we don't really know anything, because Plant hasn't fought up to his skill level more than likely. I mean, if you fight and you train in Vegas, you're getting great sparring, you're getting great training, you're getting multiple coaches, and I just feel like we really just don't know where he's at skill wise the way that we want to know. I know he has quick hands. That's why he's sweet hands. I know he got great footwork, but what I don't know is how that matches up to somebody that has an equal or better skill level. And I can't even say where Canelo is at this moment because of these fluff buckets he's been fighting lately. So yeah, you're gonna look good when you're fighting people that's way below your own level, which is, what we've seen the last couple of fights. And even with Billy Joe, I thought he had the skill level to show us where exactly Canelo is and how much better he is. But there again, here we go, Billy Joe not even fighting like a skilled, boxer puncher. He fighting like he wanna go, I don't know, Mama said knock you out, LL Cool J style. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not the Billy Joe that won fights. So, for me, this is like a toss-up. I know somebody gonna go home unified. I'm not gonna say Plant, and I'm not gonna say Canelo, because I feel like the variables are just endless with the both of them right now.
I'll go next. I'm thinking that this, if you look at the odds, there's spelled out something very clearly here. And I'll try not to even think about the odds at this point. I'll just wait for that fight, sit down and enjoy it, and hope that, I'm assuming that Canelo is going to win by knockout, by KO, or stoppage, or whatever it is, middle rounds, late rounds. I'm hoping that we can see David Benavidez versus Canelo, because that's what I really want to see. There's a few other guys I'd like Canelo to fight. One of them is Big Charlo. There's a few of them out there. Obviously, Bivol, obviously Beterbiev, but he's not at 175 yet, so it's kind of a pipe dream at this point. But I think David Benavidez, Canelo Alvarez would be a really, really good fight. We'll see how Benavidez does. He's fighting Gervonta Davis on the 15th or the 13th of this month. He's filling in for Uzcategui, who obviously got popped dirty for EPO or EP. I think it's EPO. Mm-hmm. So good for you. I think his career's done, in fact, because he's kind of on the backside anyway. But regardless, getting back to Canelo, regardless of what those odds are, I'll sit down, check out the fight. Too bad it's I got to bring the downer into this conversation, but no undercard whatsoever. That really, really sucked. But they got to pay Canelo, so I'll sit down and watch it and wait for his next. Happily wait for his next, and hopefully, again, it's Benavidez. And that's my say.
Well, you know what, Lucas, guys, I just wanted to say about these odds. I mean, to me, the only thing the odds are really saying is that they know one opponent, they don't know the other one. I don't know. So they're going to vote for what they know, which is who is Canelo, like they should. I think that's the only thing that is really pinpointing at this point. I mean, let's be real.
For me,
I just, you don't pick it.
Uzcategui is slow compared to Canelo. And Uzcategui was able to score and score often. I'm not saying he fought a brilliant fight. He got put on his ass more than once. But Uzcategui got touched him up, okay? If he touches him up, Canelo's going to knock him out. I mean, there's a big difference between Uzcategui and Canelo. No offense to Uzcategui.
I'm gonna keep it real, and I'm gonna say, Sakura, Plant has no chance in this fight. Canelo Alvarez is going to brutalize Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant has 13 knockouts. It's not like he's a power puncher. And
I think he has deceptive power, though.
I think he does too. And he might catch Canelo, but Canelo's going to break him down.
That's what it's about. It's about him having quick hands. So, it's them the punches you don't see. That's how he wins.
That's true.
The only chance Caleb Plant has, jab early, often, and turn Canelo nonstop. He has got to fight the perfect fight on the ground. That's how Caleb Plant wins this.
That's hard.
Feet.
Anytime you say perfect,
Feet.
that's hard.
Period. And he has to be, on his P's and Q's all fight, all 12 rounds, or Caleb Plant's or Canelo's turning off them lights.
Y'all finished yet?
I guess,
Malachi?
Robert. Go ahead.
You got
we're
some more,
never finished.
We're finished when we say we finish.
Yeah.
I mean,
You want to hear
ready
what
to
you
go.
got to say. I mean, I'm interested to see what you're saying.
Go for it, Rob.
Look, in this fight, pretty much period. I'm gonna give out the basics on Canelo here. Period. Canelo, of course, is first ballot Hall of Famer. Okay. He also is, to me, is considered a hybrid fighter. And what I mean by that, I think he can fight anywhere between 160 to 175. That being his biggest advantage, he pretty much weighs in around 175 at light heavyweight fight night. So that's a big advantage to him. What, Lucas?
Anybody know, does the IBF rule play in this unification bout? Can they only rehydrate the 10 pounds?
I remember Canelo got all of the negotiations.
So that's a no?
To his and his
most likely.
So that's a no?
Yeah, you can.
So we're talking about, 168er versus, a cruiser, probably. Another reason why I'm not going to pick Caleb Plant.
But Canelo does have blemishes. And in those blemishes, of course, he did lose the fight to Floyd. He also had a draw in there to Triple G.
He
And
lost
the issue
to
is
Triple
that-
G. Let's say realistically, he lost to Triple G that first fight.
What fight?
That first fight. The first fight.
It was a draw.
Because that happened when he was so young. Like, I mean, that's, to me, the Mayweather factor isn't included in this because he was still young and still learning at that point.
He's only 23.
So let me just say this, though. He also had some challenges with Trout. He did have some challenges in that fight with Trout. But then there's the Lara factor where he really had issues with Lara, being that his biggest blemish is he does not fight well and he doesn't flat out admittedly like to fight fighters that move around the ring.
That's what I said.
He doesn't. He also has problems, though, with fighters that are quicker punchers, faster punchers. If you're faster to the draw on Canelo and you move around the ring a lot, that spells trouble. How he actually puts it, Canelo, sorry, Dad, these are quote unquote his words. But when he does look bad in these fights and have these blemishes, these guys are quote unquote pussies because they run around the ring, right?
Right, yeah. They're not there to stand and just be hit.
For the
And then
record,
according to
your dad
Canelo-
just commented and says, I pick Alvarez by knockout. He is just too strong of a fighter.
and he is strong, but he comes forward. That is his game plan. That is what he likes to do. With Caleb Plant, there are a lot of unknowns, but we all can agree he is a very talented fighter. He is a true champion. He is also a true super middleweight. So even though
He's
Canelo
a true champion. Like, his resume is so weak, I can't say it, man.
but he earned that belt. You cannot
I
say
give
he
him
did
that.
not earn that belt. He earned that belt, which is why we have this fight. But that being said, though, the scariest part of Caleb Plant is that he's still forming into his prime. He's not a fighter, and that's why nobody's picking him to win this fight, because you can't necessarily say he's in his prime yet. He's still forming that way, which means Andre Ward plays a big part. The reason why Andre Ward plays a big part in this factor is because he's helping with the training and forming of Caleb-Plant in his prime. And Andre Ward doesn't hold his tongue, and he doesn't lie. Okay, he speaks his mind.
Oh no, he lies. He
If
lies.
Andre Ward,
He
if
lies his
Andre
ass off.
Ward-
He lied his ass off in the Kovalev fight when he said he won. Look, this is him after the fight. Like, oh man, Andre Ward's the winner. Oh
Andre Ward
yeah,
does not.
man, that dude lost that fight. He knows he lost that fight. He's a damn liar.
I don't know.
He lost that
I don't
fight.
know. He
If
lost the
Andre
fight.
Ward says that not only Caleb-Plant is going to win, but he's either going to win big or by knockout, you have to listen.
No, you.
All
What's
of
he gonna
those
say?
factors-
What's he gonna
all
say,
those
Rob?
factors
He's been
being
working
in
with
play.
the guy for
Sakura,
months.
we can't hear you.
What's he gonna say? Oh,
Oh, you can?
he's gonna lose. He's gonna
But
look
Lucas-
high.
Sakura was talking. and
No,
we couldn't
No,
hear.
I was
They-
saying.
Okay.
This is what I was saying, guys. I was just saying I respect Andre Ward and everything, but what I really respect him for is the strategy. He's a great strategist when it comes to helping
Yeah.
other boxers, because we just saw him strategize with Shakira's fight, and we saw the outcome. Nobody expected Shakira to come in there and be like, right there and engaged and fighting on the inside.
I didn't. I'll admit.
Yeah, nobody expected him to come in beefy like that either. These are all strategic moves that Andre Ward and the rest of the team were sitting back, strategizing about that particular fight and how to win. So I do respect him on that level even more than even a boxer at this point, because he has some great strategies when it comes to certain boxers and being able to pinpoint what can help you win. And the other factor is the fact that for years, right, he was really thinking about fighting Canelo. He kept thinking that he knew something about Canelo and could beat him. So to him, this is like his chance to prove that theory is correct. I hadn't put that in my factor for Plant though, because like I said,
But Plant's not Andre Ward.
I still
clear.
feel that we
don't
don't
know that.
know
That's
where
the problem.
We do know that. Have you seen? We do know that he's not Andre
We
Ward.
don't.
Bro.
We
I mean,
don't
come
know
on,
that
man.
yet. This,
I mean, I know by his birth certificate he ain't Andre Ward.
Canelo is, dog. You don't even know what Canelo is. He's fighting Yildirim and freaking Billy Joe Saunders, who's not fighting his best game.
Billy Joe Saunders was undefeated and had held
And
the
did
belt
not
to defend his
fight
belt.
his
I mean,
fight.
it wasn't like he was a bum.
Fight
I don't know
the
what
way he
people
fought.
thought. Billy Joe wasn't a bum. He
So
beat
you're gonna sit up
Callum
there and say
Smith,
that Billy Joe
who was
Saunders fought the way
the lineal
he fight.
champion in the division,
So
undefeated.
you're gonna say that Billy Joe Saunders fought Canelo the way he usually wins his fights? Is that what you're saying?
He couldn't because Canelo was hitting him with punches
this is
that
the
literally
classic
broke his
version of
face.
Somebody that loves Canelo.
Canelo was hitting him with
Oh,
punches
Canelo
that
did it. Canelo ain't do shit, though.
he couldn't. He couldn't. Like
But
Canelo was,
he
he was hitting him with the power punches. I thought Billy Joe was winning. I thought he was winning the fight.
I think
Up
he
to the
was
point
up on
that
some
he got
cards.
stopped. The
I think he
round
was up
before
on
that,
some
I gave
cards,
to
yeah.
Canelo. That's when Canelo really started pouring it on. Before the stoppage, well, I guess it was the round. Like Canelo really had figured him out and started really pouring it on him, and the ending was inevitable. He was going to destroy Billy Joe at some point if the fight didn't stop. But he literally broke the man's face. Some of the power punches, even in the rounds he was losing,
You remember the
I was
Smith
grimacing
fight?
for the man when he was getting
like
hit with them.
looking
I was like,
over
God
his
damn.
Remember that one?
Right? Like, and Callum Smith, like, shit, I don't even know that Caleb-Plant would have beat Callum Smith. Like, what would be the consensus if they were fighting today and Callum was still undefeated? Would you be taking Caleb-Plant to beat him? That's.
Yes,
I think that's a
would. If I'm basing it on his performance with Canelo, hell, fuck yeah.
I'd pick Plant. I would to beat Caleb. I'm not really all that high on Caleb myself, but
here's the point I'm making, Malachi.
Based
Because
on how he performed with Canelo, Lucas, if you base the performance of Smith in that Canelo fight when you was pinpointing the fact that he kept going back to the ropes and you had never seen anything like that?
I've never seen a man escape, turn away from the ropes, only to turn back and put himself against the ropes and sit on the rope. It didn't make any sense to me. I mean, I'm not meaning to demean Caleb Smith's game, but in no way have I ever seen that from any fighter at any level of this, because I have seen people who are pro debuts and I've seen people who are vets, and I've never seen anything close to that. It was ridiculous.
Listen, all of them, including Lara. Lara's biggest mistake in that fight was letting Canelo push him back on the ropes. Mm-hmm. This fight has to be fought in the center of the ring. Even if you move around through the ring, if you're Canelo-Plant, you got to bring it back to the center. Because, again, I think punch for punch, Plant matches up, if not a little quicker than Canelo.
You think he has as much power as Canelo?
So this is going into my.
No.
I think
or speed. He didn't have the speed or the power.
I think he definitely has the speed over Canelo, but he ain't got the power Canelo got.
What is the ring size for this fight in the negotiations? Has anybody saw that?
Canelo won that again.
I mean, but what did Canelo want? Because I thought last time the negotiations that Canelo wanted a smaller ring, and apparently he was the one that wanted the bigger ring.
I think this is personal for the Canelo too. Canelo legitimately don't like this guy.
I think that's all to sell shit too.
He really legitimately didn't like was Chavez. And I thought there were times where he could have put Chavez Jr. away, but he just enjoyed punishing him, brutalizing him with clean, brutal power punches. And never really fully put him away. And I think he legitimately don't like Canelo-Plant.
Why? Why did he not like Canelo-Plant? For what? What reason?
I think Canelo-Plant had insinuated in the past that Canelo was a drug cheat.
I mean, you test positive, partner. That's all I can say. You test positive.
Blame the farmers.
Time out. No. Okay. We're doing rapid fire, but we're going to do it my way today, okay?
What?
I'm going to ask you a question, Rob, and you have to say, I know, but it's still in context with this.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you a question. You have to say Canelo or Plant, okay? Who has the advantage in speed?
Plant.
Sakura?
Plant.
James?
Canelo.
And Malachi?
Let's say Plant by just a little bit.
So I think they're pretty close. I think it's about a draw. Let's go power, Rob.
Canelo.
Score.
Canelo.
James.
Canelo.
And Malachi.
Canelo.
All right. The feet movement around the ring, just ring generalship overall.
Plant by far.
Oh, what? Power? Yeah, I'm definitely picking Canelo.
Okay.
Footwork,
Rob
Plant
said
Plant.
By far. Okay. Sakura?
By a lot.
I didn't hear what was the
footwork. Ring generalship.
Oh, I think Plant.
Okay. James?
Canelo. Easily, hands down.
And Malachi.
Canelo. Like, come on. Why are we sleeping on the fact that this man literally could pull off step back counter uppercuts that Roy Jones Jr. said that, I thought I was the only person that could do this.
It's the opponent.
Me and Roberto Duran.
I agree partly with Rob. I agree partly with Rob.
That counter.
When you're fighting a gigantic colossus of Caleb Smith, who really is more of a lurch, it's easy to pull those.
It was Miguel Cotto.
Cotto was past his prime and way beyond it. Look, I think a lot of people would have beat Miguel Cotto at 154. And above. He just never actually got those fights. Sergio Martinez would have wiped the floor with them too, but he had 2 blown kneecaps, so we'll never get to know. My point.
I think that one, that fight and the Amir Khan fight is like you're just fighting people that's out of your weight class.
Yeah, I mean, and here's the thing. I think this is going to look a lot like Amir Khan because I think coming out of the gate, Canelo needs that information like Floyd does. He needs to find out how to time him, because that's really... And Rob's right. Maybe he's not faster than Canelo. I think they're pretty close. But he does have problems with speed. Canelo does. That was clear and evident in the Mir Khan fight. It was also the movement that caused him problems there. But what happened is he timed him, and he had a highlight reel knockout, Eventually, I'm saying that that's going to happen. I wish that Plant could keep turning him and never let him plant his feet, because that's where Canelo's been relying on the most. Not even the speed, but more on the power. He's been pretty flat-footed as of late because he hasn't had to use his feet. He has not been made to use those feet. So now...
Say the word. He has not been found.
He definitely, as far as boxing ability and movement, that has not really been challenged, probably even since Golovkin. And Golovkin's footwork is subtle, and he's still coming forward. He is not like, you can't hit me now. This is going to be different than what we normally see Canelo do. However, I still think the end result is the same.
That's a good point on the footwork, because you mentioned Golovkin, and he used the switch step real well. And the other guy who used the switch step extremely well was Chavez Sr. Not too many people use that. But I did want to say, I think the real advantage that Canelo has here is that he's a tremendous counterpuncher.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he wants the inside. He wants the firefight on the inside. And that's where he's going to score his points. That's where he's going to do his damage. Can Plant keep up with him on the inside? Doubt it.
The point is,
really doubt it.
Is he going to decide to fight on the inside? Knowing that information, is that even something that he's going to...
He's going to back him up. He's got to back up. Plant's got to back up.
He does. He has to fight backing up. He has to fight side to side. He cannot stop at any point. He cannot square up against Canelo. Game over. You cannot do that. That's what I'm saying earlier. He has to be perfect. He has to turn him and keep him off balance consistently, because if not, it's going to be a big left hook to the body, and down goes Caleb Plant.
Well, it would be very surprising to me if somebody can be perfect in 1 to 12 rounds. I never, ever seen an opponent, a boxer, be perfect for 12 rounds. They gonna make a mistake somewhere in there.
I don't know. You see Floyd versus Guerrero?
12 rounds and they ain't had a mistake.
Well, listen. Y'all are diminishing another factor which you can do at rapid fire, and I'm pretty sure it might be even on it. But the one thing that you got to consider is chin. Okay, Plant has a chin, and he's proven that. He's proven he has a chin, and he has defense.
Versus who?
Has he?
Versus who?
Uzcadagay rocked him, man. That was my whole thing about Uzcadagay. Uzcadagay rocked him.
Canelo,
But who are we basing that on? Because I've seen Canelo get hit flush from Gennady Golovkin.
right.
who's
Was it flush though? Because
Right.
I mean, he turns into
No. He got hit. He got hit by Golovkin a few times.
Yeah.
Not a lot of them were just
Shots.
not movement, though. I mean,
Shots
he
that
knows how to
not-
absorb punches.
Canelo has a steel chin now. That is.
Yeah, that's
You
And
said
I'm not questioning that.
period.
I'm saying don't
I mean, Cotto's brother
underestimate
rocked him,
Plant.
but that was a long
I'm
time
saying
ago.
don't underestimate Plant's chin, because y'all are sitting here acting like it's a Mike, like Canelo is Mike Tyson over here. Okay, he's not. He's not. He has a lot of power, understood, but he's not Mike Tyson.
Well,
I think Plant can take some of those shots.
let's see. Taz Brown says hard to decide. I know this one's going to be hard for some boxing aficionados. Let's see. Contar Washington. I picked Plant to outbox Canelo. Plant is a strong fighter too. He is, but let's get down to the nitty gritty. I'm gonna come to you first, Sakura. Who you got, and how's it going?
I can't decide.
You got to. You got to.
I really don't. I'm on the fence with this one. I told y'all that from the get-go. I told you this. I feel like both of them are like you guys are talking about fights like Amir Khan, and that proves that he doesn't do, he's not able to handle quickness, Canelo, right? But I'm like, that. Look how long ago that was. This man done approved since then. Oh, well, hopefully. I mean, it's hard for me to come up with an answer because I don't feel that either one of them has fought up to their potential and their actual level in so long that I can't gauge it. I really can't.
Fuck Danny Jacobs, Triple G. I mean, like, come on.
Once again, you just okay. You are just so in denial about these opponents and how they come in there. I mean, Cole was the only one that actually admitted he didn't come in there to try to win. I mean, he was the only one honest, and he can do that. The rest of them, they did basically the same thing. They like, hey, this is my payday. This is what I worked hard for, and yeah, I probably ain't gonna win. Like, they did not come in there to win. That's how I feel.
You feel that Danny Jacobs didn't show up to win?
No,
or is it in reality Canelo made it look that way?
Felt this energy. I know he did not come to win. I was there.
Jacobs came more to win against Golovkin. I'll give him that. He said, "Screw the 10 pounds. I'm trying to win." He said, "Screw that IBF limit."
That's what he said. No, he
"Screw
said,
that IBF
I'm about to eat. Fuck Canelo. That's what he said. It ain't say nothing about he wanted to actually win. It just said he gonna eat what he wanted to eat after that weigh-in.
But yeah, I don't know. Malachi, I think I know your prediction, but I want to hear it. It sounds like Sakura's unmade yet, so we'll wait.
I think
you can maybe add that in at the end if you want, Sakura.
I think that we'll probably see Plant ahead in the fight up until the point he's not, and when he's not is when the fight's going to be over.
A la America.
Yeah.
And when is that going to be?
Canelo's the better counter puncher. He's the harder puncher. He's the more experienced. He's the higher level fighter. Plant, like we talk about, Canelo hasn't fought up to his potential, but I could take Canelo's last 4 opponents, and they're better than Plant's entire resume put together. So, like,
including Yildirim.
Well, even including Yildirim, because that would be one of Plant's normal opponents.
Malachi, stop your lies right now.
It's a Yildirim. That's one of his normal opponents. So yeah.
No. If you hadn't included Yildirim, I would have been like, okay, yeah, he got a point. But you just had to go there.
But my point is, Yildirim would have been the normal opponent for like Plant. Go look at his resume. He's not like fighting the big names in the division.
Yeah, but
even Caleb Truax.
Yeah, but
I mean, at that point, like, come on, man.
Let's not saying Yildirim is like a Plant. Let's not do that because that's very, very disingenuous.
Okay, so you got it playing out a la Amir Khan. Okay, what round?
I think about round 7.
Okay, getting into the later portions of that fight.
Writing down predictions, y'all.
James, go ahead, buddy. How you see it happen?
It looks pretty much played out at this point. I'm looking at Canelo maybe losing a few early rounds, but coming back in the middle, 6-7 by stoppage.
Rob?
I like what Dahlia says. This fight is not about who is the strongest fighter. It is about who is the smarter fighter. Never underestimate your opponent. Everything is possible for Canelo-Plant. Y'all have a common theme with Canelo. You say he was possibly down in the scorecards against Billy Joe Saunders until the knockout. He was down early in the fight against Amir Khan until the knockout. He will be down against Canelo-Plant. This fight is going to a decision. Canelo-Plant wins by decision. It's my first I told you so moment this year.
You pick Caleb after all that shit you done talked all show. You gonna pick Canelo-Plant? All right, let me go to another comment here. Kantar Washington, Mayweather outbox Canelo and Plant gonna do the same thing. It's not always about power. If you get hit with too many punches, it's going to affect you no matter what. I mean, he took some punches against Golovkin. I don't know about all that. Rob, so you're picking Plant. I'm sorry, I was too shocked by the Plant pick. How? Decision, you said? Unanimous?
It goes a distance.
Unanimous. Because you know already there is one judge before the fight happened that has it a draw for Canelo.
Exactly why I don't think it would be unanimous.
Okay.
Although I think it could. I don't think it will. But either way, look, bottom line, this is the first I told you so moment that I'm going to win this year. I don't care how he gets it done, to be honest. He's going to win this fight.
I think that would be very bad for boxing, but I just want to see a good fight. I don't care. I want to see the right person win. That's all. For me,
I just don't feel like Canelo is. I mean, I don't feel like he's gonna have the judges on his side this time, because
he always has judges on his side.
And they're gonna let it ride this time, I believe.
Is it in Nevada?
No, because it's not with his regular promotional people. He signed a one-time contract with PBC.
Nah, that don't matter.
Not in their best interest to pay no judge.
If it's in Nevada, it does not matter. If it's in Nevada, they're making money off of him. Why you think they let Floyd out of jail? They're making money off of him.
You want to hear the judge's names?
Say what?
I have the judge's name.
Oh, do you?
Yes, it's Weisfeld and Moretti. And then it's Patricia. Oh, I don't have her last name, but
Morris Charman.
okay.
Patricia Morris Charman.
She just decided that she just had a decision on the fight card this weekend that people didn't like. And so she's now going to go ahead and be allowed to do the Canelo.
Right. So she fucked up a different fight, and now she gets to literally judge an undisputed fight. That's not good.
She didn't fuck it up. But what happened is that she had Jamal James a little bit closer than the other two judges. Jamal James fought the Russian guy named Butaev. And so the numbers read 77-74, and then she had it 76-75. She's not too bad. She's not too far off, but
not too horrible.
Who knows what kind of shenanigans they'll pull? I mean, I would expect some funny business anyway, because it is Nevada.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
that's where all the shit goes down.
My position should be a draw then, shouldn't it? Because the best way to make money is if they had to fight again. So maybe I
would agree if that was a bigger fight. Unfortunately, Caleb doesn't really have much of a following to warrant. It will be a big
fight then, because he's getting introduced, and if he puts up a good fight against Canelo, it would be a big fight for a repeat.
I'll say this. He has the intangibles to beat Canelo. I just don't think he can do it, because eventually the timing will come into play and he will equalize that speed of Canelo-Plant. The real question also, though, is can Canelo-Plant go to the body early and often? I'm talking the first 3 rounds. Don't even aim at the head. He needs to get, because Canelo's known to gas, right? And what are we known Canelo-Plant to do? Outbox, outmaneuver, stay moving constantly. He has to have that movement. So if he can dedicate the first 3 rounds to just touching up Canelo's body, then he has a good shot in this fight. I think he'd be able to outmaneuver him. Canelo gasses late. Canelo-Plant would come on strong and outbox Canelo in those last fights when he's gassed out. But I really honestly don't see that happening. I see him trying those things and it just not being enough. Eventually he gets timed and a bad knockout for Canelo. So I'm going with a KO. I'm going to say round 5.
Round 5. Lucas is ready for some KOs, baby.
Sakura, you decided yet?
No, I haven't. I'm thinking that it may be it could be a draw. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of saying, but not yet, James. Don't you put that down now.
No, I didn't. I did. Right.
All right.
I didn't write anything down.
Rob, we're coming to the end of the show, so I do want to touch. Did you have any other rapid fire, anything else?
Man, I done exhausted all my energy right now at y'all with this. riding off Caleb-Plant, who's a very, very good fighter. I don't care what you say, Malachi. He earned that championship belt. He earned this fight. You're saying something for Caleb-Plant to actually give in to all of Canelo's demands. And let me just end it right here with this shot at Canelo as well. Y'all said, Malachi said Canelo doesn't like him. You're absolutely right, he doesn't like him. You know why he doesn't like him? Because he made some outrageous demands because he's scared to fight Caleb-Plant. And he still tried to not make this fight happen.
He's scared to fight Caleb-Plant. He fought Golovkin. He fought Danny Jacobs. He fought, like, come on. Like, he's scared to fight Caleb-Plant.
Not
He
scared
does
in
not.
that way. What Rob is saying is he's scared because stylistically it does not match up well for Canelo.
Exactly. He does not like guys who move. He does not like guys who box. Last I checked, moving around the ring, boxing is a huge part of the sport.
And,
It's not just all about coming forward.
and unfortunately, when's the last time you've seen Canelo upset? If he actually is in his head, that is very much in favor of Caleb-Plant. Because the last time I seen Canelo frustrated was against Mayweather when all he could hit was air. If you frustrate Canelo enough, he will implode. Because he forgets the training. He forgets everything and says, I'm just trying to crush this man now. Like he did with Floyd. And it does not work that way. He will forget everything and go to kill mode. And that is bad idea for Canelo.
Just remember that he fought Floyd Mayweather over 8 years ago.
He was 23.
So
He's so much better than he
not
was
the
then.
same fighter. A lot smarter, a lot stronger, a lot sharper, a lot more everything. And he's you know what, man? I'm thinking Canelo, and I honestly don't care. Just give me a good fucking fight. Let this be a 12-rounder of hell for both of them, and may the best man win.
I'm definitely not changing my pick. I still got Canelo by KO, but
I said KO middle rounds. I just want to see some blows.
I do see partly what Rob's saying about the stylistically matchup. If you notice when he picks him, because he can't pick this fight. If he wants undisputed, he has to go after Plant.
Exactly.
This caused that fight to happen. Unfortunately, if you see the fights, he's picking guys that are tailor-made for him. He's fighting guys that are come-forward guys. He does not pick Lara. He didn't even want to pick Lara. The people forced him to pick Lara. They were like, pick Lara,
actually,
and eventually he gave in and was like, I'll pick Floyd.
De La Hoya told him not to fight Lara. And he went to De La Hoya and demanded Lara. So that's
because he got called out,
Because he got called out.
By lots
of people. James, you're right. Canelo looks a hell of a lot better than he fought Floyd because he hasn't fought anybody like Floyd since.
There's nobody like Floyd. He's a once-in-a-generation fighter.
Yeah,
well, the thing with Floyd was
we can say
he was 23.
Plant. He doesn't look like the same fighter he did years ago either. And he also stays in meticulous shape now. Whereas in the earlier days, when he wasn't training for a fight, he would, balloon up. He doesn't do any of that now. He's gym rat. So we are not looking at the same fighter for Plant either. So once again, I'm seeing a situation where we got a lot of commonality here between these boxers and a lot of unknowns that we want to know. So bring it on.
My major unknown is what weight will Canelo walk into the ring on fight night?
That's a big problem.
Probably 175, probably. But I'll tell y'all this, Malachi, if I'm wrong, you can come on here next week and tell me that, okay? But I feel strongly about this because damn good and well I'm going to tell you about yourself if I'm right.
Yeah, every time. And then you get lost when it's time for us to tell you about yourself. Then you ghost us. You don't come on that feed all week because you don't want to hear the shit. That's what you do.
I came on like I missed the show when I picked Anthony Joshua.
Oh man!
Hey, but when I picked fight with Teofimo, I didn't come on the next week either, though.
Oh well,
That's true.
Malachi, I'm gonna let you slide because you haven't been on that long. But this is classic Rob. This is classic Rob. When he gets it wrong, your ass ain't gonna see him. You'll be like, what happened to Rob? Is he okay? Out here, shit.
Be quiet.
Are you gonna be, Rob? Are you gonna be in the penalty box? Or are you gonna come out?
I'm coming. See, I'm not gonna be in no penalty. Y'all will see. Y'all will see. Fans, you will see. Watch it.
All right, we will see.
Can I say one other thing? Carice Brown, that was commented on the show earlier, she has a fight this Saturday night in Colombia on the Nacho de Boxeo card. So watch out for her. I think it's gonna be live. But she is already a champ. But she's one of those females out here that ain't getting no love and that we need to show support to.
Definitely. Good luck to Clarice Brown. All right, I think that wraps it up, guys. I definitely want y'all to come back. Maybe even we'll do an after show, depending. I don't know, but it would definitely be nice, especially if it's a decent fight. But Sakura, I'm eager to see or read or something your predictions. So as soon as it's available, let us know.
Okay, I'm gonna have to do a little bit more research because it's just not there for me. I have to feel it in my heart. It has to be in my soul. Lock it in. By the way, I just want to toot my horn because I believe I got last week's prediction correct as well. James, am I not correct?
You're right. You're right.
I said a
No, I
stoppage,
took Ennis too.
and people joked about my stoppage. They said, it's never gonna happen. Who was that? Ron, it was you. You said it's never gonna happen. It happened in the first damn round.
Hey, I thought it was going to be a decision, too. I've never seen Delorme get handled like that. But, no, it was rough. It was rough. But, all right, well, guys, I definitely appreciate y'all coming on. Definitely some wide variety. Rob, I was not expecting the switch to Plant. But definitely looking forward to this fight. And I guess I'll see you, Rob, live. We're going to watch this fight together, buddy. All right, I'll see you guys all next week. Again, that's Tough Talk airs every 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. As always, we don't pull any punches, and we'll see you then.